Hey, Movie Junkie John back here again. And today I got to see the newest Osgood Perkins movie, The Monkey, with my good buddy Count Drahoon. Now, the audio and the video are not perfect because we did have to record it outside the movie theater, but I think you'll like it, and we do go into spoiler territory, so check it out. Movie Junkie John back here again, and I'm here with
Count Drahoon.
the legendary Count Drahoon.
You're too kind.
And yeah, we just got out of The Monkey, the new Osgood Perkins movie. As you can see, The Monkey. And yeah, what'd you think?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. So far, it's one of my favorite movies of the year. Now, granted, we're in February, so I mean, we've got a long year, but thus far, The Monkey is, I think it's a really enjoyable film. Pretty good sophomore film for the great Osgood Perkins. Of course, as you know, last year he made his feature-length debut with Longlegs, which was a phenomenal film. Definitely in my top 10 of the best movies from last year. And then, of course, he follows it up with The Monkey, which is loosely based on a short story by Stephen King. And, well, let's dive right into it, John, because I feel like the trailers for this movie are a bit misleading.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So this movie, okay, if you've not seen the trailers for this movie, I would say that don't watch them. If you've seen the trailers for this movie, don't expect that. So this movie, we're going to go into spoilers in a bit, but first off, this is really a horror comedy.
Yeah. I would even go so far as to say that it is a black comedy and really barely a horror comedy.
I'd agree. Yeah. It's like, to me, it gave vibes of, Final Destination. It gave a little bit of vibes of like Evil Dead. It had a lot of the comedic, over the top death elements in it. It's very ridiculous. The characters are extremely exaggerated and ridiculous. You have two characters who are the leads. You've got Hal and his brother Bill. And they almost sound like they're doing like a Will Arnett impression from Arrested Development, which was kind of funny. At least Bill was, because Bill is the evil brother and Hal is the good brother. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely comedic. It's over the top. It's not like Longlegs at all.
No, two very different movies. And just to sort of harp on what you were saying, imagine Final Destination actually written by Stephen King. That's exactly what this movie is.
Yeah, I would pretty much have to agree. Yeah,
I mean, because like I said, it is a Stephen King short story that Perkins got the rights to do, and I mean, it literally reeks of those two ingredients, as it were. And I don't mean reek in a negative sense. I just mean it's quite pungent.
Absolutely, and this is gonna be a divisive movie. You're either going to like this movie or you're going to absolutely hate this movie. I don't think there's going to be any in between. I think people that loved Longlegs, you cannot expect the same thing with this movie at all. This is more like almost, it kind of reminds me a bit of like Idle Hands, like that kind of dark black comedy where you've got a lot of deaths happening that are over the top. I guess just before we go into spoilers, how would you rate this, like 1 out of 5? Could you?
I don't know if I'd feel comfortable rating it on a scale to 1 to 5. I like doing on a scale to 1 to 10. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
That's same. I would go 7.5 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5. I think it's right there. I feel like it kind of loses steam a little bit in the second half to keep it from being a perfect film.
I was going to say, I was really into it through midway through the second act. I thought it was just an incredible film. But like you said, there were certain plot elements that sort of made the whole thing unravel. It lost steam there towards the end of the film. Still enjoyable. But correct me if I'm if I'm not mistaken, we were talking about it a little bit before we watched the movie. Uh, some other critics had said something to the effect that the film uh, isn't quite sure what it's going for. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I mean, this is a very unique film. I think Osgood Perkins, for the most part, executes what he's trying to do pretty well. Having said that, without going into the spoilers just right now, it doesn't. It, it's I'll say that in some parts it feels a bit rushed. It's like you're waiting for you're sort of waiting for a twist,
Yeah.
and the twist comes a little too early,
Yes.
which is interesting because I kind of felt like that was sort of an issue I had with Longlegs. Although I didn't have as many issues with Longlegs as I did with this movie, but I have noticed this sort of plot issue with Osgood Perkins' movies is that he sets himself up for an interesting twist, but pulls it out way too early, and the film kind of ends a little bit jumbled in a sense. Not It's not bad. It's
Right.
just it's odd. It's different.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's something because I do consider Osgood Perkins as an auteur, a filmmaker with definitely his own sort of vision, his own way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would try to integrate those sorts of twists in future films because it just doesn't seem like a very coherent way to tell a story.
Yes. Yeah, it's very, to say it's peculiar is probably an understatement. I can't think of many films like it. The way that it runs through the plot, the music, the way it sets up the scenes. Like the first scene in the movie, you're in for something over the top.
Yes.
Just the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, even the title cards.
Yes.
I mean, you right at the beginning of the movie, you almost feel like you're about to watch what it almost feels like an Italian comedy.
It does. Yes, it does. The opening titles did feel like an Italian film.
Like I thought Federico Fellini directed this movie at first.
Right. We're watching a Italian comedy of Argento.
Yeah, Argento's only comedy.
So I guess what we'll do now is we'll go into spoilers. So spoilers coming now. All right. So spoilers. The first thing I want to say is they put a character in this movie who everyone knows as Corey Cunningham from Halloween Ends. And the minute you see him on the screen, you're like, he's dressed like Joey Ramone from the Ramones, which I don't quite understand that, but it's kind of a funny joke because he's got this long black hair. It looks like a wig. His hair's in his face. I think it's funny they cast that guy because everyone hated him in Halloween Ends. I like Halloween Ends, but a lot of people hate him. And I think that's funny that they took him and put him as that character because I'm sure people are going to hate that character. Right? What did you think of him?
A peculiar choice. On one hand, I thought it was funny. Just the character is pretty absurd. I know it sounds like I'm being nervous on camera, and it's not. It's difficult to explain. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around what I just watched.
Yes.
In a positive way.
Sure.
Like you said, it was an interesting because at first, like, I didn't know if that was Bill the twin wearing a wig. When the character was introduced to us,
sure.
But then as time went on, you start to realize no, this is a different character. I thought it was a little odd that he had daddy issues, kind of the same way that the twins did.
Oh, he did, yeah. He had it's kind of a parallel, yeah.
And you know what? And now that I mention it, I do think that was kind of something that was an issue in the movie that I felt like that should have been resolved, but never was. Like, I would have liked to see, I kind of wanted to see the dad come back into the picture.
Yeah, because you didn't see him die.
Right.
Did he die?
I don't think that he did. I think that he just kind of did what what Hal did and just sort of lived the rest of his life without seeing his family because he was worried that the monkey was going to come back and, and basically kill everything that he loves.
Yeah.
So he just sort of disappeared. And the dad was played by Adam Scott.
Yes.
What a way to open a movie. That was a really impressive
really
movie
was.
opening. I loved his character, and I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see more. Well, I figured we probably wouldn't see more of Adam Scott specifically, but the character of the father,
Yeah.
I do feel like that was a setup for something that just it didn't actually go anywhere,
Right.
and that was a little disappointing. I would have loved to, because my initial thoughts going into the movie, I did kind of see, like, I wasn't surprised that this turned out to be more of a black comedy.
Sure.
But what I figured that this movie was going to sort of deal with family, and the movie was essentially going to be about the brothers reuniting to take on the monkey.
Right.
And I thought that, the plot was eventually going to involve the father, but it didn't go that direction at all. Instead, it sort of devolved into this weird revenge melodrama.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, it was the plot definitely did not go how I thought. And
no.
When you first see Adam Scott, he's playing a character. If you've ever watched Parks and Recreation, he's basically playing a character that would be like one of the crazy town members who comes to City Hall. Like he's playing, I mean, like the first few lines out of his mouth are, I think it's something like, if you turn that key, we're all effed.
Right.
I won't say it, but he's immediately just like intense, and he's wearing like this pilot's outfit that looks like he's a pilot from like the early 70s. Like it's just, you're immediately just like, wow, this is a character. Everybody in this movie is a character, and that's what's so unique. I think some of the weird points, there's a lot of weird points in the movie, like when they're children and like the bullies, and there's a lot of things in the movie that do feel a bit random, and I don't know if maybe that probably was by design, but
I think it was, because I think that this is sort of where Perkins and Stephen King meshed.
Sure.
Because it did kind of feel, from other Stephen King stories and movies, that this was kind of a Stephen King thing where you sort of have these random characters that are sort of stylized.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of, I don't think that this was intentional at all, but the bullies kind of reminded me of the twins from The Shining.
Sure.
Just a little bit, but that's just me. I wasn't really, I wasn't trying to read into it too much or anything like that. But I just think that that's just kind of an instance of both visions sort of colliding together.
Right.
I just think that's Osgood Perkins' quirky style, and that's just also, Stephen King's penchant for character development. I'm saying all that. I haven't actually read the short story. So,
I haven't either.
So watching it, I'm completely wrong. Like those bullies probably weren't even in the. Sorry, I got a little nervous.
Oh no!
I realized I'm holding the monkey.
Oh no!
And there was like a splashing noise, so I thought maybe somebody's head exploded.
So basically, in the movie, if you see this little bastard banging this drum,
right, and he does this. Hold on.
If he bangs that drum, that means someone is going to die.
Yes,
immediately.
Yeah. And it's usually, I think it's this one that comes down. That's when you know it's all over.
But the rule is that the person who bangs the drum does not die. They basically randomly kill somebody. The monkey chooses. And the monkey, I guess the monkey is like a death totem. It's like death incarnate. It's, I think Hal calls it the devil. In the movie, it doesn't exactly explain what it is, but it's a cursed object.
You know what? Now that you've said that, that actually reminds me of this really neat short story by Richard Matheson called Prey.
Okay.
And it's basically about a miniature Native American doll that has a mind of its own, and it tries to kill the woman that lives in the apartment.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is also kind of similar to Trilogy of Terror.
Sure. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but
the end skit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, because my mind went to Richard Matheson.
Well, it's kind of like Annabelle the doll in a way from the Conjuring movies, and like that's probably that might have been an inspiration
That
from
too.
Stephen King.
Well, James Wan produced the movie.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah. So this was a Neon film, but it was done in association with Atomic Monster.
Yeah. So when I first saw the trailer and I heard about it, the first thing I thought of was Monkey Shines. This is nothing like Monkey Shines. Monkey Shines is a totally different film. I think just the monkey and the imagery, and I think Monkey Shines was a Stephen King story as well. I think I could be wrong, but
we'll have to fact check you later.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but like something I just thought, oh, it's like Monkey Shines. This is nothing like Monkey Shines. You cannot go into this with any preconceived notions. I said this earlier, and so the main guy, Theo
James is the actor. Terrific actor, by the way.
Great
I was
actor.
I really hope to see this guy in other, well, not just horror movies. It's just I just really hope that this guy has a great career going forward, because that voice is very charismatic. I feel like that's really lacking in a lot of movie stars in this day and age.
Yeah,
there's a serious deficit of charisma, and he's got it.
He was definitely old school, and there was something I said this earlier to you. I think in an alternate universe, I could see him playing Ash in Evil Dead, even though I don't think they should do that.
Right? Like
I just think in a weird multiverse, this guy could play Ash.
If
like,
we
there's something about him.
If we have to be subjected to an Evil Dead remake or reboot, if we absolutely have to go this direction, then yes, he would be the logical choice to play Ash. But like you said, I pray to God that we don't end up.
Don't do that. But I think it's just because of the absurdity of the deaths and some of the choices, like the camera choices and the music. It definitely had like a Sam Raimi like flair. Yeah. And I think that's why my mind was going that way a little bit. But overall, I really like the movie. It's like, I'm like you, I have to think about it a while. Mm-hmm. It's something that I definitely will rewatch, but there were some things in it, like there were some CGI parts I didn't love. There were some little death scenes where by the end of it, you're kind of so exhausted from the death scenes that you honestly are numb to it.
I kind of had that thought too, because by the time, well, this is the spoiler section, so I can say
we can say whatever.
So by the time the brother gets his head crushed in by the bowling ball
with Lois,
right?
It was the mom's
which
bowling
was
ball,
sort of a beautiful, ironic moment, because it does, it's a full circle from, the bowling ball was essentially a MacGuffin for all you film students out there,
right?
But even before you got to that point, you were sort of like, okay, enough already. I get it. Mm-hmm. But I will say that the kill before the brother, the skydiving wedding scene that crashed through the roof, that was probably the best kill of the movie, because that was just hysterical.
That was the joke that paid off.
Yes,
because early in the movie, you see this thing about the son of Hal, who's in the movie. He sees a pamphlet that says skydiving. Mm-hmm. Oh, they do weddings too. And at the end of the movie, you see a bride fall to her death skydiving with a bouquet.
It's pretty funny.
So it's a pretty good joke. They paid it off.
Yeah, it was that was set up very well.
But I definitely agree. It's really a black comedy. This is not. Mm-hmm. I mean, the monkey itself is creepy. Like when it zooms in on the eyes and the teeth. When the teeth open up.
This monkey is not nearly as creepy as the one in the actual movie, though.
Oh, God.
Like, this is not even close.
This one looks, this one
looks vaguely adorable.
Yes, that actually looks like a tortilla on top. But
it does.
I'm afraid saying that, because it's going to start banging that drum, and then I'm going to be next. But, overall, I don't know if you have any other thoughts. I liked it. I'll watch it again. I'm definitely looking forward to see what Osgood Perkins does in the future.
I give it a recommend, and you definitely should stick around to the end of the credits, because there is a sneak peek at his next movie, which kind of brings up a whole other point, because Osgood Perkins, and I have to say I admire this, because I don't really feel like I see this a lot anymore. Mm-hmm. He's making these movies with breakneck speed.
Very fast.
Because, I mean, we saw Longlegs last summer. So I'm assuming that by the time he was finished filming and editing Longlegs, he was already in production for this movie we just watched. So by the time that Longlegs, came out, this movie was already in post-production, ready to go in February. And I guess by the time that this movie was announced that it was going to be released in February, he had already stopped filming or started post production for his next movie, which is called Together, which looks like it might be a lot darker. It's
Was it Keeper? What was it called? Was it
no. So
Together?
You're
that's
conflating
right,
that
yeah.
because we saw the trailer for Keeper.
Keep.
No. I'm sorry, you are right.
I
I'm
couldn't
wrong.
remember. I was like, was it Keeper? Or
Right.
Together? Yeah.
Yes. So it's called Keeper.
Keeper. Okay.
No. So there is another horror film that Steven Soderbergh has directed, written by David Koepp.
Yes.
Which is I'm abusing this mic with the pa.
Oh, you're good. No worries.
No, but they collaborated on a new movie that's coming out in August called Together.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but the trailer for the next Osgood Perkins movie, that one is called Keeper.
Yeah.
And that one looks like it might be. Well, it's definitely going to be darker than The Monkey. It might be darker than Longlegs, but we'll have to wait and see on that one.
It looks like straight up horror. The next one.
It does.
So yeah. Overall, I give it 3.5 out of 5, 7.5 out of 10. I think you're the same.
Yep, the exact same.
Yeah. So definitely check out The Monkey. Just go in with open thoughts. Don't go in expecting some scary horror movie.
Do not like if you enjoyed Hard Eyes, I think you'll like this one.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Because I enjoyed Hard Eyes way more than I expected to.
Yeah, it was good.
And this one was pretty enjoyable too. So so far, I would say this film, Hard Eyes, and Companion. Those are the 3 new releases of 2025 that I've enjoyed the most so far.
Yeah, that's really I would agree. Hard Eyes and this, I think, are my favorites.
And I go to the movies every week, so.
Tough critic, yeah.
Yeah, I try to be. I try to be honest. I want to steer you all right. I don't want you to see bad movies. Leave that to me.
All right, so I guess that's it. And I'm Movie Junkie John.
And I'm Count Rahun.
And we'll see you on the next go-round.
What's inside? Popcorn. It is the only human snack that vampires can eat.